Hi, it's Tash from Foxes and Brown Bears Tarot, and I'm with you today with another deck collection video. So this one are my miscellaneous decks, and I've put them into this category either because I only have one or two decks that fit a particular category, or because they're quite unique. So the very first one I'm going to look at, I've put into this bag, is the Archetype Oracle cards. So this is by, can't quite see that, glossy box. It's by Caroline Miss, illustrated by Janice Freed, and published by Hay House. And it has 74 cards. So, nice little chunky book. And the book's really good. It goes through the idea of archetypes, explains how to pick the 12 archetypes that best fit you, and give you some suggestions on how you might use them and how you might use them to ask questions about how you deal with particular situations. And there is some quite good information on each card. So this deck is pretty cool. These are the backs. Super glossy. It is a very, very glossy deck, but I don't mind that. I like glossy. And so the cards look like this. And so the only complaint I have about this deck is the artwork's really small, because I think it's really beautiful. But you can see here you got the archetype of the knights, and then you've got light attributes as well as shadow attributes. So I'm just showing you some of my favorite cards. So this is the Nature Child. Love that picture. Storyteller. It's a lovely picture as well. And I did pick my 12 archetypes, which I actually found really difficult to do, but it was quite a useful exercise. But how I really use this deck is by either picking a card for the day and using that to give me a sense of what attributes I might need to embrace that day, or attributes that I may need to watch out for during the day, either in myself or in others. And so I find it quite useful in that as well. I think it could be quite useful to use it in tarot readings, perhaps, if you want a bit more information about the type of person you're dealing with, but I haven't used it that way. Not yet, anyway. The other cool thing about this deck is it does include a number of blank cards where you can actually write in your own archetype and describe the light and shadow attributes for that. Okay, although, I mean, there are already 72 cards, so I haven't really seen any yet that I feel are clearly missing. So that's the Archetype cards by Caroline Miss. So very cool, really unique, quite different from everything else I have in my collection. Then I have a cute little deck called Divine Doors, and this is by Andres and Gracia, published by Rockpool, and it has 40 little cards. So just a cool little open up box. It has no booklet, but it does tell you how to use the cards just on the inside of the box. And these are cute little things. So they are super tiny, like really tiny. You can see they're kind of only half a finger across. And they're just beautiful images of different doorways or passages. And they are super glossy, but great photographs. And what you'll have is you'll have the photograph, and then on the back you have a message. So this one is patience, that everything will finally come to light. Then you have, so this one is heart healing, saying morning now has had its time. Do not pay it a single dime. Emerge from the darkness. A new day starts. Let light embrace the healing heart. You also have very traditional looking doors. So this is the inner power. You have, this one's kind of cool. I really like this one. This is another gateway appears in view. A very cool one there. So deeper, dig deeper and deeper. Hold on, hold on. You also have some that show a bit more nature. So this one's a begin here. Do not fear what travel brings, my dear. The moment is yours. Begin now, here. And I'll show you one more or two more maybe. So this one's a really cool one. I'm guessing that might be set in a place like Cambodia, maybe Angkor Wat. And I'll just show you this one because I really like this one. It's a beautiful, beautiful photo. And this is a moment's joy. So these are really cool. I tend to use these as occasional draws. I definitely don't use them daily. And just sometimes I'll pick the picture that appeals to me that day, or sometimes I'll just randomly draw them. So that's the Divine Doors. All right, next one I've put into a blue bag. And this was actually sort of a gift from my mum. She actually had this deck in her collection, wasn't using it, and asked if I'd like to have it. And so this is the Energy Oracle Cards by Sandra Ann Taylor and illustrated by Jenna Della Grottalia. And it's published by Hay House and has 53 cards. So, of course, I said yes. And I'm not going to say no to a deck because I like trying out new decks. And I'm very glad I did say yes. It has one chunky little book. This has quite a few basic spreads. It has uprights and reversed meanings for each of the cards and includes a cool little affirmation as well at the end. So the booklet is fabulous in this. Great booklet. Now, I'll show you the backs. I do love the backs. They are quite glossy, as you can see, but they are beautiful. And initially when I saw this deck, I was like, oh, I love the artwork, but I'm not too sure about some of the meanings because the keywords aren't particularly clear. So for example, this one, man holding a coin, doesn't really say much. Not to mention the fact that he looks like he should be on the cover of a Mills and Boon novel. So yes, interesting card. And then you got some like this. Like, I love this artwork. This is beautiful. But the thinking woman, maybe. And I mean, you can use this intuitively. And that's what I found. I found this is a fabulous intuitive reader. And then some of the cards just are amazing in terms of their keywords. So indecision, I mean, that's just beautiful. And action, fabulous. And I really, really like this card. So gorgeous. Now, it's not a very inclusive deck, I have to admit. So you got all these Archangel cards and yeah, interesting. And I'll just show you a couple more. So they are beautiful. I do love the artwork. It's not inclusive. Some of the keywords aren't fabulous, but when you use them intuitively, or even if you go to the book and actually read some of the messages, they're amazing. And for the weeks I used this, they were on point all the time. And so I'm really glad I did say yes to this deck, and I will definitely keep using it. So that's the Energy Oracle Cards by Sandra Ann Taylor. All right. Next one is another cute little deck. Now this I just put into a bag I happen to have. And I've had this deck for so many years. I can't even remember when I bought it. And it's the cute little Goddess on the Go. Now I almost put this into my Goddess sort of witchy collection, but I find it more of an affirmation deck. And so I thought it didn't quite fit. So this is a cutie. This is by Anna Sophia Marashinsky, illustrated by Melissa Harris, published by AGM Urania. Weirdly, it has 33 cards. I don't know why, but that's what it has. And it has a teensy little white book. And this little white book is pretty much information on the creation of the deck and the story of the artist and creator. Okay, so it doesn't give you a lot of information, although it does also give you information about the power of belief and the magic behind affirmations and ways to use the deck. But what I love most about this deck is the artwork. It's just so beautiful. So they're the backs. And these are teensy little cards. They're super tiny, fit in a palm, and they are gorgeous. And I will occasionally pull one of these just for the affirmation as well. Whenever I'm feeling a little bit down or doubting myself, I pull one of these and they just so beautiful and cheery. The affirmations are gorgeous. And I really, really like this deck. And I've been using it for so many years, even for a time there where I stopped using tarot and oracle decks. I still pulled this every now and then because I felt that it just really inspired me and comforted me. So that's the cute goddess on the go. Love it so much, and it's super sweet little deck. So, all right. The other one I'm going to show you, I've had it for a while too. I actually bought this at a sort of metaphysical fair. And this is a massive deck. I've put this in this nice stripy fabric. And it is the Insight Story card set. This is by Randy Compton, illustrated by Tanya Henderson, published by Think A Lot Toys. And it has 90 cards. So it's this massive 2-piece box. It comes with a fabulous little guidebook, super chunky guidebook, and it has a 2-page spread on each card. And the book is fabulous. It really is a good book. Now it comes with a little card set with its own little bag. Inside a beautiful little velvet bag. And this is sort of like a Lenormand deck, but it's got 90 cards and it's kind of weird. So I'm not, and to be honest, I use it as an oracle. It's, I don't know how other people use it. I haven't actually seen any videos where people have shown this. These are the backs. And once again, these are teensy little palm-sized cards. But you'll see why I think of it as a Lenormand type deck, because it just has these sorts of archetypes and very similar to what Lenormand decks do. So they're beautiful drawings, beautiful pencil drawings, and I really love them. And they're absolutely fabulous. Sunrise, look at that. It's gorgeous. And you've also got some people in it. So you've got the wild, you've got the wizard, athlete, you've got something like an egg. So really basic drawings, but boy, are they beautiful. I just love these drawings so much. And as I said, I use it as an oracle deck, so I'll pull a card and then just look up the meaning in the book. So it's, the book does sort of mention other ways of using it, but that's the way I've generally used it. And so, for example, if you look at key, it will give you some keywords there, and it gives you really good meaning for that card. Really gives you that sense of, you know, keys being the symbol of knowledge, and this knowledge can be internal or external, and that we close things for protection and safety. But if we can gain access to places. We can experience a sense of power, liberation, belonging. It can be finding a solution to a problem and, you know, finding the way to complete an important task, for example. So they're very cool meanings, and as I said, I use it as an oracle deck. So that's the Inside Story card set. Really cool, really unique in my collection, especially since I don't even have Lenormand decks, so it's quite different. All right, the next one I've put in a beautiful little sun bag, and this is the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. Now I've put that into this collection because it's my only astrology deck. So this is by Caroline Smith and John Astrup, published by Red Feather, and it has 84 cards. So it's got a nice little drawer thing, which is really hard to open. And it's, yeah, you get there eventually. So it has a wonderful book. This book is awesome. It gives so much information about astrology, it gives you sample readings, it gives you heaps of information on each card. So a whole page for each card, but really in depth, gives you information about what the personal characteristics of that particular astrological combination will be, but also gives you a divinatory meaning and gives you a sense of what events might be associated with that particular card. Now, this deck is divided up into suits, so the moon, sun, different planets. And I have to admit, I'm not good at astrology. I've always had issues with really adopting astrology. So, and I know this is super controversial, but one of my big issues of astrology is I don't understand why the moment of birth is the important moment, because after all, someone's alive for 9 months prior to birth. And as far as I'm concerned, you're on this planet already. So, like, for example, the hour or the day before your birth, surely you as fully formed a human as you will be once you are born. So I don't see the distinction between being inside someone's body and just emerging from that body. So if you can enlighten me, please, I'd like to know about it, because I actually find it fascinating, but I just have issues with astrology at this moment. And that might change, that may not change. I do not know. That's my little rant. Having said that, I do love this deck, even though I don't understand the astrology behind it. The thing I don't love is the fact that it's in those boxes where it divides a deck into two. I'm not a fan of this because it's really hard to get the cards out, and it's sort of a pain to have to separate them out each time you put them back in the deck. Now these are cute little cards. These are the backs, and I have to say they are super thin, but because they're tiny, it's not really a problem for me, and I'm really careful with my cards anyway. I don't riffle shuffle or anything, so it doesn't bother me. So these are the fronts, and what I love about this is the artwork. The artwork is gorgeous, and the keyword on each deck is so amazing and so useful. And so I read this predominantly just as an oracle deck, just to supplement readings or as daily draws. So I used this last week as a daily draw deck, and it was pretty much on point. And I did go to the book so that I could gain a bit more of an understanding of the background with regard to the astrology of the cards, but I just really enjoyed looking at the artwork each day and working with that keyword, seeing how that keyword would potentially show itself in my life that day, or help inspire me. That's good timing, isn't it? And yeah, just adore the artwork. So to be honest, I would have been happy with this deck just purely on the artwork, even if I didn't use it. but I do use it, and hopefully I'll expand a little bit more and start using it for some of the astrology as well in the future. So we'll see what happens with regard to that. So that is the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. So awesome little deck, and as I said, it's pretty much in miscellaneous because it's the only deck of its kind that I actually have in my collection. All right, next one is my only Rune deck. I love this fabric. Look at the glittery on it. Oh, yeah, I'm very happy with it. All right, so this is the Power of the Runes by Phoenix, published by US Games, and it has 25 cards. So it's got the 24 cards of the Thutak, and then has that extra wild card as well. And so this is the only runes deck I have, as I said. It's got a cute little white book. This book is quite useful. It's got some basic information about the runes and kind of tells you where they come from, the states of consciousness, how to interpret them, and does give you a few little spreads. And then for each card, it gives you some very basic information. So you can see it's a quarter page per card, well, half page per card. Sorry, quarter spread there. And it will give you the rune, the Proto-Germanic term and meaning of the word, the phonetic value, the symbolism within the card, and some impulse words. Then it has the meaning of the card, both positive and negative, so with regard to reversed or upright meanings. So this is really useful. This suffices, to be honest, with regard to sort of a rune reading. Now these are massive little cards. Well, little cards, massive little, that's an oxymoron. But big, big, big cards. These are the backs. So, yep. And the fronts are really cool. They kind of look like some kind of fantasy comic sort of style art with the borders around it. I do love those borders. They work really well with a Viking sort of iconography, and that's so really like that. And they are really gorgeous. I really like them. So there's Thor. And the imagery is really helpful as well in understanding the meaning of that particular rune. And I don't actually have any runes at all, so this is pretty much my only rune device. So yes, beautiful, beautiful cards. So as I said, the little white book suffices. Having said that, though, I have bought a rune book that I'm studying in accompaniment with this deck. So what I'll do is I will pull that card and then study that section within the book. And so the book I've been using is Nordic Runes. And this is an awesome book, so I highly recommend it, by Paul Rees-Montfort. And what it does is it gives you a lot of information initially about Norse sagas, runes, poetry, the different traditions. And then what it does is for each rune, it gives you the rune, it gives you a basic meaning, it gives you a poem from both the Old English and Norwegian and Icelandic, so not both, 3 different traditions. It gives you a visualization as well, so that is suggested as a way of helping you remember what that rune means. Then it gives you quite a substantial meaning that goes over, it's probably equivalent of about a page. And then it gives you myths and legends as well that relate to that rune. So, and that goes on and on and on. So heaps of traditions and so on. So you get quite a few pages per rune. And so I've been finding that really useful in my study of the cards as well. And then the final section of the book goes into some more of the traditions and literary kind of relationships. So, for example, Tolkien and how he used Norse mythology and runes and whatnots, and also gives you the theory of divination and how to cast runes and invocation, and then gives you different spreads and things to use too. I haven't got to that section, so I might do a review later once I finish the book. And that is my rune deck. So the next one is kind of a hybrid oracle tarot deck. So this is the Psychic Tarot of the Heart, for the Heart, sorry. And it is by John Holland, illustrated by John Matson, published by Hay House, and it has 65 cards. So this deck is kind of weird because it is based on tarot, but it has all the majors, but it changes all their names, and then it has the pip cards on 4 suits. So it will have cards 1 to 9 of each of the swords, wands, pentacles, and cups, but it has no card 10 and no court cards. So it's quite a good deck actually for beginners who might be just not interested in trying to learn court cards and whatnot, and you want a sort of hybrid. You want to move from oracle into tarot. It could be a good transition deck. I use it as an oracle deck. So the book is super substantial, and it gives you quite a lot of information about psychic developments, about color associations, numerology, different symbols that can be used in tarot and oracle. And then it gives you a sort of 2-page spread for each card, which is pretty cool. And at the end of that as well, it tells you which card it's associated with in the traditional tarot, as well as a really good affirmation that can be used. So the book's really good. Now the deck, let's have a look at the deck. So these are the backs. So it's a super glossy deck. I do like the backs though. It kind of reminds me a bit of a 4-leaf clover type thing. And I do like the color. And what it does initially is it will also give you, it includes 7 chakra cards. So there's a card for each of the chakras. And this is really useful, I find. So I use this sometimes as, I use them as significator cards in readings for like chakra readings. And sometimes I'll just pull one of them to give me an indication of what chakra I might want to work on that day. So they're quite useful to use. I guess you could even use them in spell work if you're working with chakras. So they're a cool little set of cards to have. All right, so now I'll show you some of the cards. So all the majors have the black border. So you can see here they've also got keywords. So detach. This is actually justice. This is the justice card. Seek is the hermit card. I do love that. It's beautiful. And then the red cards are pentacles. So this is the 5 of pentacles, sorry. And so feeling alone. So it does definitely have a nod to the traditional sort of Rider-Waite-Smith tarot. So for example, this one, which is the 8 of Cups, you can definitely see the 8 of Cups vibe, the moving on. I love the perspective on this image. Love the footsteps being left behind. The violet is wands. So there you have the 9 of wands. which definitely gives you that sense of exhaustion that the Nine of Wands is usually associated with. And then you have indigo representing swords. And so here you have the Two of Swords. And very, very emotive, beautiful card. And so yes, so you can see here the Ace of Wands. So the artwork is quite beautiful, and I've just dropped the entire deck on the floor because that's just, I haven't done that today yet. And so it's a great little deck. I really like it, and I probably don't use it as much as I should because it is very, very cool. All right, other one is awesome. This is also very unique in my collection, and you can probably guess what's in it by the bag. It is a color deck. This is my only color deck, so I think you only really need one. And this is The Secret Language of Color Cards by Inner Seagull. Published by Blue Angel and has 45 cards. And it is beautiful. I love this deck so much. So it's got a cute little, it's not really a little white, well it is a little white book, but it's a particularly special little white book for a nice cover. And this one is, it's got information on how to use the particular colors, how to use color to work on your chakras. You can meditate, eat or drink the color, whatnot. And for each of the cards, it's got information on that particular color, and then it also has a healing action that you can take in order to work on that color and bring that color into your life. So it's a really useful little guide book. Now the cards are really big, like seriously big. They're even bigger than my Rune ones. They're the backs. I love these backs. They are very glossy cards, very standard Blue Angel, but I think they work because it makes the colors really pop. And so I'll show you some of my favorite cards. So there you can see Lemon. Isn't that beautiful? So yes, and what I like about it is it actually has a little key meaning at the bottom. So there you have Access Innovative Thinking. And here's another one of my favorites, Ground Yourself. Beautiful. Lilac, Strengthen Your Faith. Cherry, oh, they look beautiful, don't they? So yes, live an extraordinary life. Green is to revitalize your nervous system. Isn't that beautiful? And this one, just experience peace and calm. I love this card so much. So they are really beautiful colors. They've got a massive range of colors. So there are 45 different colors. And they're not just your standard, colors of the rainbow. There's quite a few. And the images do not detract from the color as well. So I use this generally for healing and chakra work. So I might draw a card, for example, to work on that day. And if I get a 0 or whatever, then I'm going to be thinking about how I'm going to potentially meditate on that color and how I might wear that color that day. Or I might eat foods that have that color and things like that. And sometimes I actually use this purely as an oracle draw. So I might pull a card just randomly, and it will be, say, tangerine. And it will tell me to be spontaneous and have fun. And so that is my message of the day. And so sometimes I don't even use it just for the colors. So I love this deck, Secret Language of Color, absolutely beautiful and really unique in my collection. All right, so other one, I've put in this beautiful dragon bag, and it is gorgeous because it is my Tao Tarot. This is by Ma Deva Padma, published by St. Martin's Press, and it has 64 cards. So this one has one chunky book, and to be honest, I don't think I've done the book credit yet, because it is based on the I Ching, and so if you pull a card, you can actually, it links to the different hexagrams of the I Ching, and so you can also toss some coins. And I have actually I've purchased 3 little coins that I keep in the bag, in the hope that one day I'll actually take the time to learn how to use the I Ching, because I've never used it before. But they're there, they're ready. And the book is one little chunky thing. And it gives you a lot of information on how to use the I Ching. But it also gives you a lot of information on each card. So for each card, if you're going to use it just as an oracle, you can just use those 2 pages. And then if you encompass the I Ching elements of the changes and the different lines, then you've got another 2 pages that you can use as well. So far, I've used this only as an oracle deck, and the messages are really, really good. And the book's fabulous for that. However, what's particularly great about this deck is that it actually has keywords on it. So these are the backs. It's quite a nice matte, so they are really beautiful. They did clump together a little bit initially, but as I shuffle them more and more, they're getting a bit better. And the artwork is beautiful on this. So you can see you've got the hexagrams at the bottom, you've got all sorts of symbols and heaps of information. But what I love about it is, first of all, the gorgeous artwork, and then it also gives you key meanings. So you'll see here it says small is beautiful as a title, and then it's got a few little key points. So find the extraordinary in the ordinary, keep it simple, use discretion, slow down, tend to details, pay attention. And so this is really good for advice cards at the end of a tarot reading. So what I might do is pull one of these, and this can be the way you might either strengthen that particular message that you got, or maybe if you've got a message you didn't particularly like, this can give you advice on how you might go about changing it. And I just love the artwork, just so beautiful. So it's a great little deck, and I'm hoping that I'll eventually use it as the proper I Ching as well. So the thing is, you can toss the coins and then find the corresponding card, which is particularly useful. Or as I said, you can just draw a card and use that as the I Ching message as well. And I guess you could always use it as combination as well. So these are beautiful. Highly recommend them. Yep. So once again, very unique in my collection. I don't have any other sort of I Ching type decks or divinatory methods. So that is the Tao Oracle. All right, we're getting there. 2 more. Other one is my little Whispering Woods. This is by Jessica Lee, published by Rockpool, and has 40 cards. So this is like the Divine Doors. So it just got the little magnetic clasp. Just tells you how to use the deck inside the box. And these are kind of cute. These are a little bit different from Divine Doors. They're kind of the opposite. So instead of having different images, every single image is the same. So the backs of the cards are the image on this one. They are a little bit glossy. You can see it's a beautiful, beautiful image. Gorgeous. And then the fronts of the cards are all different. And they will have really cool little messages. So kindness, isn't that gorgeous? I love that. And you've got flow, change, adventure. Sorry, it's not very focusing very well today. All right, so these are really great messages. And what I might do is I either draw one randomly as sort of a daily draw if I choose to use it that week, or I pick one consciously and I think, oh, I really need cleansing. And so I use that as just a reminder, as sort of strengthening the resolve to do that. You can use it as inspiration. So you're like, okay, I'm going to have fun each day this week, so I'm going to put this card out to remind me. But it can also be really useful for advice. So in a reading, so at the end of a tarot reading, I might pull one, it might say this. Okay, so we'll say, do not be deterred by the thorn amidst the roses. So maybe focus on the positives instead of the negatives of the situation. Or it might tell you, well, actually, you need to be grounded in this situation. Or you need to hold on to hope. Or you need to show humility. And so it's really good for that. And that's the way I use them most. So that is the Whispering Woods. Beautiful little deck. I highly recommend it. I actually like it more than my Divine Doors because of the messages. It's really beautiful. All right, final one is I also got for my mum. She actually just found these on her shelf and didn't want them. And so, of course, I said yes. And I'm so glad I did because they're actually out of print, even though I have seen that you can get used ones for very reasonable prices. So I saw one just today, actually, on US Amazon. So still available if you're really desperate. And these are the Dharma Cards. These are by Priya Hemingway, published by Sterling. And it's got 36 cards. So what these are cards but based on Buddhism. And they are all photographs taken by Priya. And they are gorgeous. So you'll have the photograph. I love this one so much. And then on the back, you will have a verse. And this verse is taken from the Way of Truth, which are compiled sayings of the Buddha. And I really like these for just occasional draws for meditation, inspiration, contemplation. So some of them are photographs of artworks. You can see this one. So this is empty your boat, seeker, empty your boat and ride on down the stream. Having lightened it, your boat will make its way. Throw out 5 obsessions and 5 longings and let the 5 strengths come in. And when the last 5 are left behind, you have crossed to the other side. So really great little contemplations. I love this one. This is called Testing Yourself. There is no fire like desire. There is no test like hate. There is no suffering like attachment. There is no happiness greater than peace. So really great sort of inspirations for meditation. And they are just gorgeous. And then you also have an accompanying book. So just a little cute little white book. And the beginning of this book goes into a lot of information on the life of the Buddha. And then it gives you some more information on the cards as well. So, for example, the cards are numbered. And so you will find that particular number. And then you've got a page of information for that card. So, for example, this one on choice. It will say past and future dominate each moment. Fear and ignorance drag you down. It is useless to fight back. Your attempts are ineffective because you cannot control what you do. You are not in charge of how you react. Stop, says Buddha. Take a moment to feel your heart. Watch your agitated breath and sense into what you feel. Turn your attention inward. Forget about what or why and discourage your mind from interfering. Just let yourself feel. This is where compassion begins, and it goes on. So beautiful, beautiful little deck. I'll often pull one of these at night, just as a way of ending the day really well, contemplating life, contemplating my choices, contemplating who I am. And yeah, Dharma cards, beautiful. I'm so glad I got my hands on these. So they are my miscellaneous decks, and that's pretty much my deck collection videos done. Although there will be an update at some point because I've pre-ordered cards that haven't arrived yet, and so I will have an update video. So thank you for watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe. Let me know if you want any walkthroughs of any of those particular decks. And thank you. Have a lovely day. Stay safe and be happy. Thank you.